Okay guys, welcome back. So we're going to be doing something a little different today. We're going to be looking at the Shroud screen, a new piece of equipment that's been added in Season 3. So Shroud screen is being put on 2 competitive maps as far as we know at the moment. It's replaced the drop shield or deployment shield on live fire, and you can see in front of me right here that it has replaced the thruster pack on streets. Now, I don't want this video to be another video that explains everything that you already know, like you can't see through it and that sort of thing. This video is to give you hints and tips on how this thing can be used, and if you've not played a game like CS or Valorant, this is going to teach you how to use smokes properly, because if you use the Shroud screen wrong, you can use it in a way which will cause you to lose the fight that you're in. And so just for basic information, Shroud screen, I think you get 4 or 5 uses out of it. You can fire it, it lasts around 8 seconds, and then the recharge time is about 10 seconds. So the uptime on it is pretty high. You can see here it's completely, you can't see through it at all. It doesn't affect sound in any way. So if you walk inside, you'll still be heard as if it's not there. But it does affect aim assist, and we're going to get onto that a little later on because there's some nice little text that you can do to help you win duels, but we'll get to that later on. So, when you use a smoke, there are 3 different ways that a smoke can be used. It can be used offensively, defensively, and passively. And we'll go over the defensive uses first, because these are ones that people tend to figure out first. So, if I'm being shot by an enemy, the most obvious defensive one I could do is I could shoot it at my feet to block vision, and then I can run through, and then I am then ready to shoot them if they chase, or hopefully they will disengage. So that's one of the defensive ways. The second way we can use it defensively is we can use it to prevent sightlines. So, for example, here you can see that I've shot it at sea balcony so that I prevent my any enemies from sort of hanging out there, because that's a really nice anchoring spot. We could do it to top A as well. We just shoot the pillar in the middle there. That's another good one. And I suppose we could do it over on the little bridge there as well, towards shotgun. That'll probably work too. Yes, that works too, etc, etc. I'm not going to do any more of those. So we can use it to block sightlines. And then I suppose the last one would be to apply those principles, but then apply them to allies. So if your ally was running away or you wanted to cover an exit. So I could be running, and then my allies could be coming around, and then I'll drop it there, and then I'll curb slide away, and then my opponents would then have to make a decision if they want to push that or not. So that's defensive. The last defensive one we're going to talk about is blocking enemy advances. So if you want to block an enemy advance, there are a few things that you need to be aware of when you use a smoke screen, so you don't end up screwing yourself over. Smoke screens prevent your vision as well as the enemy's vision, and so when you place it, you have to place it in such a way that its placement does not leave you at a disadvantage. So let me show you what I mean by that on stairs here, because this is the best way to show it. So if I fire just the Shroud screen at the back of stairs, notice if an enemy comes out, they can only come out along this edge of the bubble here. So this means a few things. This means their movement will be predictable. And it also means that when they walk out of it, their bubble, you'll see their Spartan before they see you. Yeah, his legs will come out first, for example, in this one. But usually in other games, it's the gun, the front of the rifle that the character is holding, or their arm or something will come out first. And so you will get first shot. And with Halo having long TTKs and things like that, first shot's always a nice thing to have. It doesn't guarantee that you'll win the fight, but it helps. And so we want to make sure when we're placing the bubble, we're giving limited options to our enemies as they advance through that bubble. So now let me show you a really bad example of a defensive bubble. So we've already said we could use it here, but what if we use it here instead at the top of the stairs? This is really bad because the enemies can come out this side, and this side. And additionally, we've sort of given them all this area here at the top of the stairs as free space. We've essentially given over map control of the top of the stairs to the enemy. So having it at the bottom means that they can have this part of the stairs, that's fine. But we have their advance here, and technically we could also hold this area here, and that would prevent them from shooting us on that little podium there. So that's the defensive uses of the bubble. Now, the offensive uses of the bubble are kind of the same principle, but it's just the fact that if you're pushing, you want to put the bubble in such a way that it gives you as much ground as possible. So, for example here, if we look at Neon Street, not Neon Street, B Street, sorry, or Pizza Street, whatever you want to call it, Arcade Street. If I'm pushing Arcade Street, something that's really obvious is Probably don't want to put the bubble there because now my opponent has the entire other side of the street and I have just here and I can't tell what they're doing. That's not good. A good example of an offensive bubble on this area would be to shoot it right at the back to block off the ramp so my team can push all the way up and gain this ground. Okay? So you want to use it in a way that you can gain ground. If we take this example then back to the stairs, then if we were pushing up the stairs, then we would maybe shoot it up here onto the pillar there. And then that gives us the option to attack from this direction, to run up and attack from this direction, etc, etc. The enemies will probably still see us first, but it gives us map pressure and it makes it unpredictable which edge of the bubble we're going to come out. So you do have to be careful when you use the shroud screen. You can't just sort of yeet it at the wall and then run through like an idiot. You've got to still be careful with it. Or if you've got something like a thruster in conjunction with this as well. I mean, I know we don't have any maps that have that yet. The shroud screen and the thruster will make for a very deadly combo, especially if you can push through really fast. Or, for example, we could shoot at the bottom here, and if you can hit the curb slide off of the stairs blind, then it will give you the option to rotate incredibly quickly without being predictable. And then I suppose passive, which is the last one we need to talk about. I know we talked about defensive and offensive. Passive would be where you sort of put it in the middle, and it sort of allows both teams to advance closer to an objective. So this would be advantageous if you had like the bulldog or something, because then you can have a little shotgun fight inside the bubble towards rockets or something like that. So that's the 3 different types of smokes, and there's 2 things I want to talk about left in this video. So if you've learned something or if you're enjoying this, remember to like and subscribe for more. We're going to cover more advanced principles and map tips to do with the shroud screen as the season goes on. But the next 2 things I want to talk about are the following. So we're going to talk about how the shroud screen affects aim assist or reticle friction, I suppose, if you're on keyboard and mouse like me. And then we're going to talk about something called one-ways, which again you'll be familiar with if you played those games I keep mentioning. So, reticule friction, or aim assist as it is on controller, because those things aren't the same, they work differently, but stay with me here. If I press and hold the mouse button on mouse and keyboard, and I sort of walk past this Spartan, can you sort of see that the speed of my camera changes as I walk past him, because I get reticule friction? That makes it easier to aim. Okay, that's fairly standard. If I was on controller, you would see my reticule sort of stick to him a bit more. But the shroud screen does something really interesting, and if I just try to shoot this above this guy's head, right there. Well, you can see now I don't have any reticule friction on him, even though he's there. So that won't tell me if someone's inside the bubble. And this means one of 2 things. This means that if you fire a bubble on someone and you've got a rocket launcher, you're all good. But it also means that if you've got a precision weapon and you're trying to use it in a fight, if you shoot it on top of the opponent, you won't be able to tell where they are. And this brings me on to my next point, which is really important. If you deploy a shroud screen and you stand sort of here, just inside it, the opponent won't get aim assist on you, but you will get aim assist on them. And so, if we were to do that in a duel, it probably looks something like this. I have a very distinct advantage. See how the bot sort of, it doesn't really know what to do. Yeah, that's when it can see me and when it can't see me. So bots will use like aim assist or reticle friction to figure that out. Using the shroud screen in that way and sort of dancing on the edge can really give you a huge advantage if you're against someone who's on controller, because they will lose all aim assist. I'm not saying that controller players will always need aim assist. There are a lot of very good players who don't really rely on it that much, but it's going to force them to right stick aim, and as we know in Halo Infinite, a lot of people like to left stick aim, and so it's going to make their life very, very difficult when they try to kill you. Well, that's that one. So try to dance on the edge to make sure that your opponents don't get that aim assist, to make it more likely that you're going to win. And then finally, we're going to cover a topic known as one-ways. So there isn't any bots that are really stood in a great place right now, but a one-way is where you can see them, but they can't see you. So I can see this bot here, so on flat ground, he would have to move out of that to be able to see me. If we just move this bot to somewhere else, we'll be able to hopefully come up with some different examples on ledges. It's going to spawn them all in really bad places, isn't it? Not amazing. we can use the map geometry to come up with some nice one-way smokes. So for example, another good one-way, I suppose, would be if you shot it at the ceiling, and if people try to come up, the head will sort of go through it, especially as people like to jump on this railing here, and that'll be a little disadvantage for them. That's an example of one. And then another really good one is on cafe, if people like to stand here. The automatic reaction would be sort of just to shoot this pillar here, and now cafe can't shoot you anymore. But there's actually one better than that you can do. You can still shoot it there, or you can sort of shoot it up here. And it means that you can see the legs of the guy in cafe, so you can guess where his head is. But he can't see you, he has to completely disengage, or he's just screwed. There's another one on top A where you can sort of shoot it up here. You can see the guy in A, but he can't see you. You can do it to heaven as well, where if you just shoot sort of up here. There's lots and lots of examples of one-ways, and they can really screw people over. If you use a one-way well, you can shoot it up there. That's a bit low. You get the point. And they're just very, very advantageous because obviously the enemy can't return fire. This will give us one. That gives us another one-way, so we know he's there. And look, you can shoot through it. You can shoot through a shroud screen. It makes no difference whatsoever to the bullets. It just makes a difference to the bullet magnetism and the aim assist. So I'm not going to keep this video going on now. We're on 11 minutes. We're going to cover some more advanced stuff, sort of map setups and places you can place the shroud screen. And also we're going to look at some pro gameplay. We've got some HCS stuff coming up soon. Obviously, this is going to be on those maps, which is really exciting. See how the pros use it. But if you like this content and you like this stuff in Season 3 and how to use equipment and how to bet yourself in ranks, then make sure to like the video if you learned something. Make sure to subscribe if you're into this stuff. You've just come back for Season 3 and you want to know if Halo Infinite's any good. And catch us on Tuesdays where we do a live stream every week, some VOD review, then some ranked. And then every so often we play some customs as well. Plenty more stuff coming. Plenty more things to explain to help you out with. And also you can catch me in my community Discord, which is linked in the description. But until then, hope you're all good. Hope you're all doing well. This has been Vanadam, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later.